Today we're going to be discussing the B tank and the operation of it. Most people out in the field will want to use the B tank. Now, this B tank that you see here in the classroom is 125 cubic feet of acetylene only. You can buy them in the smaller bottles, much easier to carry around, especially if you're doing stuff on rooftops. You don't want to be trying to haul this up a ladder. There's a few things that you should already be familiar with. How the soldering and brazing operation works down here. Safety is our utmost concern. Otherwise, somebody's going to get hurt. And this hurt is going to hurt real bad. So, remember, with using a B tank, we are only using the acetylene. We are not using the oxygen. You notice that there's a new head on this. So what we've done here is we've taken off the old acetylene head, set it off to the side. Now be careful with this and don't be throwing it around. Be sure that your gas is shut off. Remove the old head and put the new head on. The new head only has one valve. All right, it either has empty or full, and it's broken down into little increments. Again, it is also left-handed. All right, we carry turbo torch here. Now, if this is not on one of the units to start with, then it will be in the red toolbox. And the red toolbox, of course, is up underneath the table here. Now, we take very good pride in taking care of our equipment, so please be aware of that when you're using this. Now, this is the older version of the turbo torch head, but it works just as fine. You don't have any concerns about it. Okay? Let me explain something. First of all, of course, it's a quick disconnect. The other thing is you'll notice that inside here, there's a little orifice. That orifice is going to be blowing acetylene straight out of this. These 4 holes is where it's drawing in the oxygen around your vicinity. So what's that telling you? Remember confined space? If you're using this type of tool in a confined space where there's very little air other than what's around, then you're going to need to pump in air because it's deleting the oxygen inside that room. All right, now these come in all different types and sizes. We have several sizes here. I want to say that this is a 5A. Don't hold me to that. Yes, and they're tagged on there. Okay. Now, you want to set that down. Be sure everything's connected. If you have to attach this, then please remember to use the leak detector bubbles and check it. All right? Black oxide wrench, it's in the tool cabinet. That's all you should have to do. All right? Now, this works the same way as when you did the oxygen settling. What you want to do is just crack it. Now that cracking, remember, is going to take the acetylene up through into the gauge. That's all it's going to do. All right? So you want to crack it, and you'll see the needle move to wherever it's supposed to go. Now, turn it 1 full turn. That's it. Now what you want to do is, since this is at the, what we call the back seated, it's all the way down, to take the acetylene from this gauge through this hose, you have to turn it all the way forward seated. Remember these terms, forward seat, back seat. And you don't have to cram on this thing, all right? Just firm it up, that's all you gotta do. Now, you'll hear, when I turn this on, it'll have a hissing noise to it. When you go to do that, be sure that you have your lighting device and the hood on, okay? As well as your gloves and your shield. Now the shields, depending on each individual, some people like the darker lens, all right? That's available to you, all right? Or you have the flip-up visor, all right? You still need to wear safety glasses, but on this, you have double protection. You have your safety glasses, then you have the plastic shield where as long as you're setting up and lighting, you're good to go. Once you start brazing, then you want to flip down your shield and use the dark portion. Don't go do one of these things, all right? Because this will damage your eyes in the long run, all right? Now, because we're making the video, we're not going to have the vent on because it just makes way too much noise. But always remember to have the vent on, your gloves, the long sleeve shirt. On this situation, I have it set up so that we're just going to do a vertical weld here, or a brazing job. Now remember again, we want to talk about the sill floss. When we're dealing with sill floss, in the schoolhouse, we're using 0 sill floss, as you can see. All right? That means it has no silver. That's okay as long as you're doing copper to copper. When you start going copper to brass, copper to whatever else out there, steel, then you want to use a higher sill floss content. All right? The higher the silver content, the more easier it's going to flow. But with the different metals, you just got to learn to work with them, because brass takes longer than copper to heat up. Steel takes longer than brass to heat up. So you just can't focus on the copper and call it a day. All right, so we have all our tools laid out. We're ready to do this. Again, when you're using this type of equipment, think about it. I'm going to show you the rosebud that comes out on this. Don't put your hand on there, because that's the oxygen that it needs, the heat. And you only use this in the fully open mode. Open up the valve, strike it, open it all the way, put the shield down, pick up your rod, and you'll see the rosebud I'm talking about. You'll notice that there's a gap. Open it all the way up. Otherwise, it will burn the inside here and destroy the $60 tip. Now, what you want to do is you want to work it. You notice where the tip is? I got it right at the highest point. All right? And the metal is going to melt my rod, not the heat, not the flame. So I just touch it. See how that works? Now, always work on the back as well. That gives people problems, but you learn how to do it. When you're done, once you're done, just turn it off. And you notice, this is the big thing. You know, I hate to sound repetitive, but all you have to do is gently close these things. Now you want to go back and look at your weld, all right, or your brazing joint, excuse me. Now you notice that I have a really nice collar on this, okay? It's gone inside, and it's very well done to this point. Now, this is only half of the mission. All right, your other mission, which I'm not going to go into because you should already know how to do this, is you're going to cut this piece right at its joint there, and then the cup portion is going to be cut in 4 pieces and spread open, and that will show us how well the brazing joint is. All right? Now, do not try to think that you're going to take that piece of copper, loosen it, and throw it in the water. Do not do that. You have the proper tools. Use them. Be safe. And then just dump it in your bucket. So we can go back and we analyze it and we see how the shoulder is well mounted on this. All right? Again, you're going to cut it off. Then you're going to split it across and bend the cup pieces back at an angle so that we can see what's going on. All right? So now we're done. You've gotten your pieces approved by the instructor and everybody. Now you want to shut this down. Just like your oxygen settling, the first thing that you want to do is shut off your main gas valve. All right? The second thing is, with the air still on, the vent still on, you want to open this up. It will drain anything that is in the hose and in the valve itself, and all you have to do is close it and look at your valve, and you can see where everything is gone in the hose and everything else. And now you backseat it. If you do it out of order, you're going to leave settling inside the hose. Then what we want you to do is be sure that, you take care of the equipment, unravel it, and then wrap it back up so it's ready for the next student. All right. Now, the tip's going to be hot, so just use a little common sense when you're doing this. All right. Just set that back down so that the metal is touching the metal inside the box there. Be sure you clean up your area, put everything back the way it should be, even though you may or may not have found it that way, please. All right. Put all your rods back, put any scrap metal back in the box, and then clean up your equipment, and everything should be okay. Thank you.